Hello YouTube! Welcome to my second video about retiring early, and this time with only $100 per week. If you are interested to do the same but with only $50 a week, please check my other video. I will link it in the description. With $50 a week invested for 30 years, you would end up with $300K, and that does mean you can retire early. But with $100 per week, you would end up with so much more. So what would you do? Would you like to retire early? I hope so, because I do. Before we continue, a quick disclaimer. I am not your financial advisor, I'm just a lady on the internet, so contact your financial advisor to check what is possible for you. Also, do your own research, and past performances are not a guarantee for future results. Indeed, the market could crash tomorrow and no one can predict that. I am not a financial advisor, but I am passionate about finance. My name is Anne-Sophie and everything money interests me. If you have any struggles, please share with me. I would love to talk about it, and most likely your struggles are not the same as mine. Also, if you have any other question about money, budgeting, finances, let me know as well. That could be some interesting ideas for future videos. If I could retire early, I would definitely enjoy it. I'm a spontaneous person, but I don't have the time to actually follow my intuitions. So that's the first thing I would do. I would go on random holidays, I would start a business, and most likely build a family if I'm that lucky. Also, I would like to have more time to volunteer, more time to enjoy with my friends, and go see my family a lot more often. They live abroad, so holidays and jobs don't make for a good balance. So what would you do if you could retire early? I'm really interested. With all the time in the world and no anxiousness or stress about money, what are your ambitions? When in doubt, you can always go back to those words. Why do you want to retire early? That will keep you motivated and also dedicated to the process. Now, before we jump to the numbers, I would like to tell you I do not do the calculations myself. I use a compound calculator. I'll put the link in the description. I really like their graphs, and that's why I use this one. Any other is great as well. If you're interested to check out with other numbers, you can use that. This calculator starts with a balance of 100, which is not a problem because I really think it's a great way to start investing. Depending on your situation, lifestyle, and pension, you could use different numbers, and that's why you should always contact your financial advisor to make sure that this is also good for you. Finally, I use an 8% rate of return. That's because it's an achievable rate of return on the stock market. If you are investing into bonds, this might not be a good way to calculate. Make sure that the number you use for the calculation is actually an achievable number. Here we go with the first set of numbers. In this case, you will be investing $100 a week for 5 years with an 8% rate of return. At that point, you will end up with $29,700. Yes, this is maybe not enough to retire early, but it does get you somewhere. As you can see, the interests in green get bigger and bigger. That's because you get interest on old interest. That's the compounding effect. So 5 years into investing and you have almost 1 year of expenses, depending on your lifestyle. Also, if you receive dividends at 2%, you would receive passively $595 in a year, which could possibly cover your bill for food or gas. Any bill, actually, it's nice to have. If you have more time to invest, say 10 years, investing $100 a week for 8% and you would end up with almost $74,000. While it took 5 years to get to 30K, the second time around of 5 years, it gets you 44K. At this point you can see the interest growing and growing into a nice cash cow. Again, depending on your lifestyle, this could mean you can retire earlier, 1 to 2 years depending on your expenses. And finally, if you receive 2% of dividends on those investments, you would have $1,478. This could pay your rent for a month, maybe 2. How nice is that? Paying your rent by just investing your money. At this point you might like investing and want to keep doing it for 5 more years. Investing $100 per week for 15 years at an 8% return, you would end up with $140,000. You can see in green the interests that are getting almost as big as the principal, the amount you invest. At this point, the money is working for you and you don't have to work as hard anymore for it to grow. The first 5 years got you to 30K. The second 5 years got you an extra 43K, and the third time around you get 65K by just investing. Also, if you keep receiving dividends at 2%, this time around you will be earning $2,794 passively. This could pay for multiple months of mortgage or rent, and if you are smart, you would reinvest them for it to grow even faster. This is the first scenario where we end up with more than 100K. Are you curious how long it would take you to the second 100K? Here we go with investing for 20 years. You would end up with a balance of $238,000. Yes, we have reached the 200K mark. The extra 5 years of investing brought you almost 100K. At this point, you might understand that the longer you invest, the better. We have also reached the tipping point where interests are bigger than the principal. At this point, money just rolls on its own. You don't need to invest more, but it does accelerate the process. Depending on your lifestyle, you can now retire earlier. Depending on the expenses, this could account for 5, maybe 10 years. While the interests grow fast, you can also see that you earn more dividends. At this point, $4,754, those are multiple payments towards a mortgage, rent, and any other expense. Retiring early with dividends is nice, but at what point do you have enough money that you would never run out? Let's check that with another 10 years of investing. Imagine you have started early and 30 years later you have $600,000 invested. Yes, ding ding, we are there. Using the rule of 25, you could live on a 24K budget a year and never run out of money. This could be a frugal living, but also no more worries, no more stress about money. The interests have grown exponentially. At this point, every year extra you invest is a lot more money than the last year. It took 13 years to get to the first 100K. The second 100K took 6 years, that's half. The third one, 4 years, the fourth one, 3 years, and the fifth and sixth one, 2 years. So every 2 years extra, you can almost enjoy another 100K. At this point, the dividends have grown so much that you would receive in a year $12,000. That's $1,000 a month. This could cover some expenses, but this could also mean a holiday of $1,000 every month. Imagine that. Finally, imagine you had 40 years to invest. We will check the numbers right now. Welcome to the Millionaire Club! Investing for 40 years, $100 a week, would mean you are entering the million invested. The amount of interest is now multiple times the amount of principal. You could stop investing $100 a month and just enjoy the interest of the interest. With the rule of 25, you could live on a budget of $56,000 a year and never run out of money. You could probably also live on a bigger budget, but then you would have less money at the end of the day. But maybe you don't want a legacy for the rest of your family. And maybe you do. Your choice. At this point, the dividends are also huge, $28,000 a year. That's $2,000 and more per month. While most of us do not have 40 years to invest, it's nice to see how big the numbers can get. If you wanted to achieve the $1 million invested earlier, you can also invest more in the later years when you probably have a bigger budget anyways. In conclusion, the longer you have to invest, the more interest you can build up. Also, investing $100 a week is a great place to be, but you can also start with $50 a week. Check my other videos to see the results. Finally, if you liked it, please leave a like, a comment, subscribe. I would love to hear about you. Thank you so much.